a very interesting topic which is repeatedly asking in UPSC, civil service, mains as well as preliminary examination. And the maximum students who are not from the economics background, they always confuse regarding the topic this twin deficit problem in Indian economy. What is the twin deficit and how you can understand it easily? The topic of twin deficit, first I discuss the derivation of this twin deficit. After then I will analyze why this twin deficit problem arises in any economy. Come on the issue. As you know, this twin deficit generally known as current account deficit and fiscal deficit. But why this is known as twin deficit problem? Twin deficit problem in Indian economy. If you go through the national income basic concept, national income can be calculated in demand side as well as national income from supplied side. Why do you represent the national income in demand side? It includes consumption expenditure, investment expenditure, government expenditure, export minus import, that is your what? Total expenditure of the economy. On the basis of this total expenditure, you can calculate the national income. Similarly, in supplied side, consumption plus saving plus tax, that is the national income from supplied side. If you are clear about the concept C for consumption, you should also clear about this terminology. Consumption expenditure, I for represent investment expenditure, investment expenditure, G for government expenditure, government expenditure, X represent export expenditure, M represent import expenditure. Other side, this C also represent consumption expenditure, S represent savings, and T represent tax revenue collection of the government. Now your point is clear. What is the derivation of this twin deficit? Now you can understand with the help of these equations. If you put the equilibrium state, that is y national income from supplied side always equal to national income from demand side, it means C plus S plus T will be equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Now you can calculate or solve these equations. Consumption is common. Now S, if you take the investment other side, S minus I is equal to G minus T plus X minus M. That is the difference between government expenditure, and as you know, tax is the source of government income, that is G minus T means government expenditure income difference is known as fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit. Export import generally arises because of current account deficit. I will first explain the both concept, their relation. After then I will analyze what is the meaning of fiscal deficit, what is the meaning of current account deficit, and difference in between saving and investment. As you know, in Indian economy, our savings always less than our investment. The difference of these two means saving always less than investment in Indian economy, and this difference managed by the government through which one, G? Through foreign capital, or you can say this is the foreign investment. Foreign investment in between two is known as foreign investment. Now point is clear. These two deficit, fiscal deficit and current account deficit, generally known as twin deficit. Why this is known as twin deficit? Because the birth of these two deficits take place in an economy at a time, and who is responsible? I will elaborate it later. First I will discuss with you the meaning of current account deficit and fiscal deficit, so that you can betterly understand why these two deficits are known as twin deficit, and on the basis of data you can also analyze this point very easily. Come on the first issue, what is the meaning of fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit, generally we define the fiscal deficit the difference between government income total income minus total expenditure. Total expenditure. Total income means total national income, or you can say total output of final goods and services. Total output of goods and services during a financial year. And total expenditure means the money which is spent by the government during a financial year. For example, suppose this 2023-24 our fiscal deficit is 6.4%. And suppose our national income say 100 rupees, then our expenditure is say 106 rupees 40 lakh crore rupees. Suppose this is in lakh crore, lakh, that will be the lakh crore. It means our expenditure is higher by 6.40 lakh, which is 6.4% of our GDP. This is very simple meaning. The second point which you have to understand for easily understand the concept of fiscal deficit means we are producing 100 rupees goods and services, or lakh crore rupees, 100 lakh crore rupees, and our expenditure is 106.40 lakh crore rupees. Extra expenditure in the economy, what it will do? It will increase the general price level, because we are producing more, less, and expenditure more, and this difference is say 6.4% of GDP. Because of it, general price level will begin to increase according to some empirical study. Some empirical study in Indian economy, if our fiscal deficit, this is simple, fiscal deficit increase say by 1%, increase say by 1%, then it increase the inflation rate between 0.6%. 0.6% will be the price rise because of these kinds of fiscal deficit in our economy. One point is clear. What is the fiscal deficit and how increasing fiscal deficit increasing the general price level in our economy? That point, technical point, and it is clear to you. If we like to maintain the price stability, it means we also maintain our fiscal deficit for the stability of price in our economy. Now you can understand the next concept, that is known as current account deficit. Current account deficit. You know, in India, in our balance of payment, BOP, in our balance of payment, what we are including, this balance of payment in India include the two accounts. One is known as current account, other is known as capital account. Current account deal in three items of export and import. These are our receipts and these are our liabilities. These are the liabilities. Means our import, and these are our receipts. First is our current account, as I discussed with you. This is our current account. Current account deal in three items, export and import. Number first is commodity. Commodity or goods export and commodity import or commodities import. Point is clear. This is known as visible items of trade. Visible items of trade. Commodities that is known as visible item of trade. Item of trade. And the difference in between the export and import of commodity in economics generally known as trade account deficit. Trade account deficit. Second item is services, means export and import of services. This is known as invisible item of trade. Invisible item of trade. That is known as invisible item of trade. And third is, that is transfer payment. Transfer payment. Transfer payment. That is the simple topic which you can understand in national income account. The difference in between export and import of this one is known as current account deficit, CAD. And when there is the current account deficit, the government either manage this deficit by the use of foreign exchange reserve, or government can borrow the money. If government is borrowing the money, that is our receipts in capital account. Suppose this is our capital account and we are borrowing, means debt taken for the management of this current account deficit. It will equally increase the interest payment liabilities of the government. That is our liabilities in our budget. Now, one point is clear regarding this balance of payment. What is current account deficit? Number second point is clear. If there is the current account deficit, it can manage by two way. Either government can use its foreign exchange reserve, which is put it in Reserve Bank of India, or government will borrow the money. Generally, if the government is borrow the money, then government interest payment liabilities will increase. Means that will increase our, which one? Fiscal deficit. Because in our fiscal deficit, total expenditure is a part of our fiscal deficit. Increasing debt, foreign debt, it will increase the interest payment liabilities. Now you are clear about the two concepts, what is fiscal deficit and what is current account deficit. Now consider why these two deficit is known as what? That is twin deficit. These two deficit is known as twin deficit because if our fiscal deficit FD is higher, then you can say more than 2.5 to 3% of GDP. If our fiscal deficit in between 2.5 to 3%, that is moderate fiscal deficit, that will motivate the economy to produce more by increasing the general price at a moderate level, that is 3 up to 3%. That is the moderate inflation in our economy. Moderate inflation always motivate all over the economy because all sections of the society are realizing that they are earning more, their income is increasing. That kinds of motivation factor is motivate all over the economy. But if the fiscal deficit beyond the limit, say 3%, more than 3%, then increasing fiscal deficit, what it will do? Consider the point. It will increase the general price level. General price level. Increasing fiscal deficit beyond the limit will increase the price. Increasing price also increase the price of exportable and price of importable. Both price are price of importable. Consider, if the price of exportable are increasing, what it will do? Our export will begin to fall. Means our export will decline. You can say export will decline, and equally due to increasing price of importable, what happened? Our import will increase. Import will increase. Now you can see decreasing export, increasing import, what it will do? It means it will increase the current account deficit. Now you are clear? Increasing fiscal deficit by increasing the price of exportable, by increasing the price of importable, by decreasing export, increasing import, increase the current account deficit, then it will increase external debt. External debt of the government will begin to increase. In this way, interest payment liabilities will increase. Increasing interest payment liabilities, as you know, fiscal deficit include total income, total expenditure. It will, by increasing total expenditure more than total income, again increase the fiscal deficit. Means once our fiscal deficit is increasing, then it will give the birth current account deficit. That is why these two deficits are known as what? Twin deficit problem. And when current account deficit is increasing, that will increase the fiscal deficit. That kind of problem is known as twin deficit problem in our economy. That is the theoretical explanation. Now you are clear what is the meaning of twin deficit problem and why it is considered as a economic crisis like situation. As you know, when our twin deficit problem is occurring, twin deficit problem in our economy, if you go through the data or time period 2009 to 14, after subprime crisis of USA in September 2008, our government of India follow the expansionary fiscal policy. Means more public expenditure in comparison to public revenue. This expansionary fiscal policy, as you know, in 2007 and 8, our fiscal deficit was only 2.5% of GDP. But suddenly in 2009 and 10, when government follow the expansionary fiscal policy, our fiscal deficit in during 2009 and 10 increased up to 6.5% of GDP. Increasing fiscal deficit increased the general price level round about 10.1%. And simultaneously, our current account deficit was round about 5% of GDP. Current account deficit. Now you can see these are the data which you can see for the period 2009 and 10. That kind of twin deficit problem finally leads the Indian economy in low growth and high inflation. Why that is low growth and high inflation? For the explanation, you can see my next video on YouTube. My YouTube channel is the Economica IAS. The Economica IAS, and you can contact me on the number 9999237051, and you can join my online offline classes according to your priority. How this twin deficit problem finally leads an economy in low growth and high inflation. For the purpose, you can go through our YouTube channel. There is the video which I prepare priorly, which will explain you how the economy come under the twin deficit and finally low growth high inflationary problem. For the further explanation, you can also go through crowding out effect, which I will explain in coming lecture. Now the student, thank you for understanding the concept of twin deficit and why they are known as twin deficit.